Call this meeting of the Madison Select Board and the Budget Advisory Committee to order on Wednesday, May 1st, 2024 at 5:36 p.m. Join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Selectman Dean and Selectman Mooney are absent. Before we move on to the electing a chairperson, I'd like to thank all of the members of the advisory board for volunteering, coming out and being part of this. Hopefully it's a great experience for you, and we can encourage you to do it again next year. So we'll see how that goes. At this time, I'd like to elect chairperson to the advisory committee. Any nominations?
Nominate Jeff Lloyd.
Second.
Oh, Jim, you didn't get it quick enough. All right, we have a nomination of Jeff Lloyd. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? And are there any others? All right, on the advisory board, all those in favor of Jeff Lloyd? All right, all in favor? Motion carried. Any opposed? No? Jeff, the only one? Good. All right.
Even
Okay, so for those of you who haven't been here before, what happens is that the select board goes over, I'll read the article, I'll tell what the town manager is proposing, and then we'll go into, we'll look for a motion to accept, and then we'll go into questions. Anytime anybody has any questions, please put your hand up, and we will run it through me. I will call on you to answer the question. So what will happen is the board will vote whatever, yes or no, and then if we vote yes on it, we'll turn it over to the advisory board for their deliberation and looking for a motion. Yes?
Now, my assumption is you're gonna want input and questions.
Along the way, yes.
All along the way, so
Yeah.
basically, there won't be a lot of input and questions when the advisory, but it will be done unless somebody has an additional question.
There can be.
Okay.
There can be if you want to, but I would say as long as we're talking about it here, let's get it all out on the
Yep.
table.
Best way to do it.
And we can go from there.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so we have articles, and I believe there's 30-something articles, and we'll put some of them together. We get at the end of the articles, we'll put them together and come up with a recommendation. So letter C, it talks about Article 3, and Article 3 this is to pay for the directors of the electric works. The town manager is recommending, the Madison Electric Board is recommending $10,200, and the article says to see if the town will vote to pay the directors of Madison Electric Works $10,200 for the ensuing year, and said sum to be paid from the funds of the department. All right, so on the select board, we're looking for a recommendation. Second, we have a recommendation of $10,200 for Article 3. Any questions? And this is standard, this comes from the electric board. They send it to us and we approve it. It has not gone up since, Mr. Ford was a young man. So we're keeping it,
Okay, all right.
keeping it the same. All right, any other questions? Advisory board, anybody? All right, seeing none on the select board, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. And this needs no action by the advisory board. All right, the next item is going to be action from the advisory board. All right, now the letter D, Article 4, to take the town meeting to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $11,200 to pay its select board. All right, we're looking for a motion. Mr. Chairman? Mr. Lloyd?
Yep, sorry, we all had the wrong agenda here, so.
Oh, gee, I know
You
that.
must have picked it up before here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, has everybody, all the advisory board members got the new agenda?
I do, I had a printed version.
Well, it actually lines up with what Al's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine does.
I just wanna try to keep it in order so we don't, so we don't get to the end of this and say we didn't do number 2 and 3.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was
Just let me get it. Al,
Yes.
so we're on Article 4, you're looking
Article
for
4,
motion
yes.
from the advisory board?
Yep, looking for a recommendation from the advisory board.
Okay, Article 4, compensation for the select board, the recommended amount's $11,200, the chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that the advisory board does approve the $11,200 for the select board.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded, is there discussion?
I have a question with that.
Yes.
Is that split evenly between all the board members?
Yes, the board members get 2,000 apiece, I believe, and the chairman gets 2,200.
Okay. And follow up to that, is there any requirement that they're here for all of the meetings to get full pay?
I don't believe so, no.
So there's no limit, like they can show up for none instead of full pay?
No, it hasn't happened. And
But it could.
I don't, it could certainly.
Okay.
I don't,
I think there's
I think would be calling, as the chairman, I'd be calling that person in line and making sure that they show up at the next meeting and get them there.
You had a question?
Yes, I do. One of the things I learned from last year was we're the only board in our area that pays this much. Skowhegan, it looks like they only pay theirs $1,200 apiece. I think both Norwich Lock and Anson pay theirs $1,300 apiece. Now, I'll concede Richard's point that it's not Madison's fault that maybe the other towns don't pay theirs enough. But I was wondering about, being more in line. It's not that they're not worth it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But,
Doesn't the other surrounding towns have more select people on their boards?
no, I think they're all fine.
Is it all 5?
Do they have assessors that are separate from the select board?
That's right.
Yeah, I think they do have assessors that are different.
Any additional questions or points to make?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to say that the pay for the select board has been $11,200, going back as far as 2018,
Actually, 2000,
possibly
I'm sorry?
further.
I think, yeah, further. I think I've got a 2008 was that back then.
Well, I think we're probably violating state law by not paying them minimum wage.
Do we do that for the school?
Yeah, compared to the time they put in, it's not a lot of money, just my opinion, yes, go ahead.
I think the state statute is $10 a meeting, but I don't know when that was set.
Nor do I.
That's what your school board's at. So 120 a year.
Additional questions? Hearing none, I sense you're ready to vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? It's a vote. Mr. B.
Jim, all right, we'll go to Article 5, overdraft of $25,000 to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to use up to $25,000 undesignated revenue in the event of overdrafts, unforeseen events, or emergencies. Any of this contingency arrangement must be voted on at the select board meeting, and the expenditure made will be listed in the subsequent town report. Total transfer or undesignated revenue shall not exceed $25,000 within the fiscal year. Transfer of undesignated revenues in excess of $25,000 must be authorized by a town meeting vote. We've had this in for a few years now. Yeah, I don't know exactly how long it's been, but it's been a few years that we've had this in. Looking for a recommendation from the select board.
I'll recommend the overdraft amount of $25,000.
We have a motion and a second to authorize to send to town meeting Article 5 for overdraft, $25,000. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor on the select board? All in favor, the motion carried. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. You've heard the action the select board has taken on Article 5 for $25,000. The chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed?
No,
It's a vote.
I'm.
That's just a, was that a late in favor or
Yeah,
an opposed?
In favor.
Okay.
It was delayed.
Don't worry.
I've been up since 3:30.
Okay.
Okay, so we're moving on now to the operational budget, and so in number one, it shows general government, Article 6, which is on the first page, second page, and third page of this sheet, okay? So the town manager is, and this goes from 0101 to 0108. And the town manager is proposing, it says on here 799, 517, but it actually is 801, 517, if you add that up. All right, 801, 517, the town manager is proposing that. We have 30,000 that will be reduced from TIP. And so going to taxation will be $771,517 for town meeting. All right, looking for motion on the, looking for motion.
I'll make a motion for the general government for $801,500.
All right, we have a motion and a second for $801,517 for general government. Any questions from anybody on the advisory board? Questions? All right, seeing none, on the select board, how many are in favor? All in favor, motion carries. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, you've heard the action that the select board has taken. What are your wishes? For 801,517. Been moved and seconded for $801,517 with the understanding that $30,000 will be coming from TIF. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, moving on to number 2, public safety, which is Article 7, and this is 0501 to 0508. Which is ambulance, police, fire department, animal control. Town manager is recommending $839,631, with $20,000 coming from TIF, which would be with a total of $819,631 to bring the town meeting. All right, looking for a motion for the select board. We're going to wait for
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the $839,631 minus the $20,000 from the TIF, which would leave us with $819,631. Any questions from the board? Mrs. Estes?
So, is the police contract, does that have an SRO?
It does not.
It does not.
That does not include the SRO.
So do we know what the cost of an SRO would be for our farms?
I don't.
Because, and I don't know if the school, you gave it to the school board, do they have that? in the
Which we
budget?
know,
Approved.
which we know if that's in the budget or no.
No, because Sheriff Lancaster's continued to say they don't have the personnel, so.
But my confusion there is, that could be true, but Skowhegan got 2 SROs this year.
We've been asking for 2 years, 3 years now? 3 years?
I think last year, we didn't, the town didn't have it in the budget, they didn't put it in the budget because it was approached to us that there wasn't anybody out there.
Correct.
But in the meantime,
That's why we didn't put it in.
But in the meantime, Skowhegan has 2, so I think we have to have it in our budget because if that opportunity
We're willing to put it in there because we've had, there's more and more issues each year. This year, there's been quite a few as far as executive sessions for discipline, for, and it's centered around drugs. We have a huge problem around the junior, well, the middle school now. They're just our property, there's nothing we can do, and the department doesn't have the resources to do a lot about it, but we're seeing an increase at a much younger age.
So you're seeing the need for an SRO?
There is a need between the fights, and I guess there was another one this afternoon. And again, it happens just off of our property, so that the school can't do anything, but an SRO, when we had them, we didn't have the issues that we're having now with the drugs, the fighting, because that's the central hub. That's where the kids walk to take the bus to the high school and such. And just having somebody there other than a teacher would help, because then the SRO would have the authority to go off of school grounds to do something about it.
Correct, correct.
And,
Sean?
so,
I would agree with Kathy. If we don't put it in the budget, then it's never, we're just gonna keep talking about this. This is the second or third year in a row that we've had this discussion here of, you know, if the school can contribute and the town can contribute, we can make this happen. And I think that it's critical for us to go to Sheriff Lancaster and say, the money's here, find somebody. I mean, you know.
I think that's probably the way it was handled in Skowhegan.
Well, and I think that.
They do have one SRO that comes from Somerset County.
But I think that we need to commit to it, because as long as we're saying, well, if you can put together a plan and bring it to us, well,
he's never gonna do it.
but if we say, look, we're putting this much money on the table for it, we need it done. I think, you know, we need to drive the bus on that, and I would be in favor of doing what we need to do to get that done. I don't know what the
We
numbers
can
are.
add it to our budget.
Okay.
We're
So
talking
who- the school budget or this budget?
both.
Both. I think it should be both.
I think we split it.
Right?
Split the cost like we used to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
We have no
you're
problem.
talking- You're talking probably 75,000 with benefits.
Right.
I mean, I would say, right, I mean, something in that area. So if we went 37.5 apiece,
It was around that, between that and 40,000.
yeah, 40,000 apiece, I mean, I don't.
Right.
you know.
So
So,
a little higher.
If you put 40, if we put 40, then that might.
all right, so we've got to, so
You
if
wanna add?
that's the case, then we've got to vote this down, what we just made a motion for. Well, let's do that first. All right, so we need to, all those in favor? All those opposed? All right, 4-0. Okay, so now, we want to change the police line. So the only thing is, I mean, we can, when we get to town meeting, if the school board doesn't vote this in, then on your end of it, Bruce, then we can take it out at town meeting. There's no reason you can't do that at town meeting, so it is, so.
We can come
We
down.
would have no problem with
We
it.
can come down, we're not going up.
Correct.
Okay?
We can come down.
So,
So up 40,000.
40, let's do 40 each, does that
Yeah.
make sense, Bruce?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kathy.
So that's gonna be 6/16/06, 026, and that's gonna be
879, 631.
879, 631,
50.
859, 631. All right, so now we're looking for a different motion.
I'll make a motion on the public safety that we approve 879, 631, with 20 coming from the TEP.
Good.
That's 859, 631.
All right, any other questions?
You need a second first.
Oh, we need a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions from the board? Yes, Mr. West.
It seemed like last year the sheriff was saying an SRO would be like in the 150s. I don't think 80,000.
I don't.
Well, if you add an officer, that you would have to include the cost of the vehicle, but you don't need the vehicle.
Yeah, I don't think we,
We don't need a vehicle for the SRO? Is that?
Get an officer first.
yeah, let's worry about our officer first. Because, I mean, he's told us over and over he can't get one, so I mean, let's try it and see what, at least we can say we have the money for it. And then we can go from there. Yeah. All right, any other questions, Mr. Elias?
Are we saying that loaded labor is $80,000? That's full-time?
with insurance and stuff like that. You gotta remember, this person's only working school year.
Oh,
And then what happens at that point is the person goes on patrol,
It comes out of the county.
and that comes out of the county.
I see.
Alright, so, that person will go on patrol at that
That
time,
makes
which is
sense.
what we've done in the past. For the summer months and vacation time, where they take their vacation.
It just felt like for a year, but now I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Alright, any other questions?
Or a
Yes.
comment. I do think this is a big budget change to do kind of all willy-nilly without doing more research into it. I just want to put that up there.
We have talked about this SRO forever. We've talked about it with the sheriff, we've talked about it amongst us, and we, as Bruce said, there's a need for, we've had it before, and what happened was when the person left, they put it out there, and I believe we entered into like COVID time at that point. So, I mean, we didn't pick it back up, and with the shortage of police, I don't know if it's coming around a little bit more, but there are more people hitting. And the other part of it is, the sheriff's office also has bumped up their pay a little bit. So, it's been talked about for a long time, for this.
There's a lot of variables though.
Yep,
We're
yep.
unaware of that at the moment.
Yep. Yes, Mr. Week?
You might also want to check with the sheriff because there's some specialized training from the state that has to go into that.
Right.
So, that, you might be on the low side, but
Yep.
we ought to be checking with him on that.
All right, looking for a vote, all those in favor on the select board?
I have a question.
Oh, this is,
So, in this budget for the police contract, how many officers is that? Do we know?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
It's the same three that we've had. And there's no change to it. So they would still be covering all the shifts. Yeah, 3 people. 3 assignments.
I wish the sheriff was here, but.
we talked to him many times, so.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like I have asked for a report several times. And I was told the last time that I asked for it, that I would get it. Whoever the gentleman is with the sheriff, came up to me, asked me for my phone number, and wanted to make sure that I would get what I wanted. He never called me. I still have not got what I wanted. All I wanted to do was do what my residents that have contacted me, I just wanted to do my due diligence and follow through. And I wanted a report to know where our assigned officer is. I don't think that that's too difficult to get, because you have to know where those officers are every time they go to a call. You have to know when they sign on, you have to know when they sign off to a call, and when they sign back on it, that is completed. I have to believe that the software they have can provide that report. My issue that I have, again, is because I'm being asked this, is they feel like the surrounding towns benefit from our officer. They get better response time because our officer is going on those surrounding towns. I don't begrudge that in any way. Safety is very important, I understand that. But if these other towns are benefiting from us, then they should step up to the plate and help us to pay for that. That's why I wanted that report. I've had people come to me several different times. They pointed it out to me. I did my due diligence and I checked randomly for a few days, and what they're telling me, I see what they're telling me. I'm not gonna go, and I'm not going on all the time, I'm not going online to search and find the officer that came on call at 6 o'clock and follow that person around to see does he belong to Madison or where does he belong. I'm not doing that every day, but I did it enough to know I have to believe what they're telling me. And I've asked for it 3 different times. We have, and we pay for an administrative person downstairs, I believe that that's her duty, is to provide us with a report. I think it's pretty simple, that what I'm asking for.
Kathy, the only way you're gonna get a report like that is from the comm center. That's the only place you're gonna get a report. If you're looking for the call factors, that all goes through the comm center.
Which is where Sharon gets part of those reports, because when she gives us those reports, that she gives us of where the accidents and stuff like that are, she has to be getting from the comm center, and she puts it together, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah,
That's the administrative person.
yeah.
I don't think it's too difficult to put together the report that I really want.
I have a response from the sheriff. He said the first year cost would be about $230,000 to equip them and train them. The second year cost would drop to about $150,000.
Is you all right? All right, so if we could, let's get this done first. Can you ask them if we can get this information? I mean, how,
But that's not what we paid before,
Yeah.
we had
okay,
these
so
offices
yeah,
for years.
no, I wanna deal with this
Right.
first, and we'll get back to that. So can we get that, somehow get that information?
I will, yes.
I don't know if we have to call the comm center and ask them to put that together. Mike Smith usually does a pretty good job getting that stuff together. Whenever I've asked him for stuff. Let's give him 4 of your time. So, okay, so I guess we need to back up here a little bit, so.
Jeff has something.
So-
You gotta clean that up first, go ahead.
Yeah, so
You have a motion and a second on the floor.
we have a motion and a second, so we either have to vote that down and go back again. I mean, I don't know, do we feel that that's too much? I mean,
I don't think it's too much, I think we should, I'm gonna vote it down, because I think that we need the SRO, and I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I thought
I mean, I don't think you're not gonna go to the school board and ask for half of 250.
That's the sheriff's office not wanting to do it. I'm sorry, we had a resource officer for years and it did not cost us that to get into the program, and it did not cost us that anywhere near that a year. We were budgeting about $40,000 apiece
Right,
for the 3 different officers that we had.
right.
Nowhere did we ever pay that. Because these weren't people that they had to go and hire and bring in and train and equip. These were officers that they already had.
Right. Go ahead.
Just because I don't know anything about this, is the sheriff's department the only option for this kind of
I've
thing?
asked that before, what we can legally have, and unfortunately, the only response I've ever gotten is it has to be
Public law enforcement.
law enforcement.
Just so you know,
Sheriff or state.
Just so you know, in our deal with the sheriff, in talking about law enforcement, the state police have pulled back out of rural areas. They're basically going on the turnpike.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not like they're patrolling, even though we have a couple that live in town, they're not patrolling here anymore like they used to. They're not, that's not part of their jurisdiction anymore. So, I mean, the gentleman that lives on Schuster Road, I mean, he's telling me that he's leaving here, heading to, like, Holton, and up from Bangor up. And so, I mean, it's a different model that they have than they had in the past. So that their help comes when you have a drastic event. You gotta call their TAC team or their SWAT or whatever they're calling it. Tell I watch the TV, right? And we have to call those guys, that's their help, and they're not providing that officer or state trooper who's in town anymore. So, alright, so we look to take a vote, and then we'll vote it down and go from there. Yes?
I was just gonna say, there may be another option, and I don't know if you want me to pursue this or not, but, the Skowhegan Police Chief approached me and said that the Skowhegan Police Department could do the same job for us for the same money or less.
With regard to what?
with regard to, rural, policing, policing including an SRO.
I didn't know that.
I didn't really consider it to be an option, I thought that,
Might cause some issues.
well, a citizen came in yesterday and suggested the same thing. So I don't know if that's something.
How many police officers do they have? 19?
19, their budget's $101.5 million.
Are you saying 19?
19.
All right, so let's get this down. All right, so that would,
That's a monkey wrench.
the old apple tree would be shaking on that one.
Well, I mean, a lot of that's up to the town, I mean, we would put it in there, but a lot of it's up to the town, that's $125,000
Piece, right?
on top of our $370,000 increase.
Right. But I do agree with you, though, it was not that. I mean, I almost think it was around 20 to 30 that came out of the school and the rest came out of the town, which was not much more than double that.
But at that time, okay, can I just say, at that time, and I don't know, I can't remember this, but did we have our own vehicle that we provided for
They
that
did have
person?
to, yes.
So we already owned that vehicle. And so, that was my thought, is that I think with your SRO, we're gonna have to have a vehicle, because we don't own any vehicles now. We gave them all to, well, whatever we did. But, so the sheriff's, the county has all the vehicles. So they don't have, I'm guessing they don't have a spare vehicle. So we're gonna have to come up with a vehicle.
Yeah,
I don't know that, but I'm gonna guess that that's part of.
all right, I guess I would like to vote it, and then we can go with what we originally had. I don't know if we can do that, put that in for this year.
Contract for service.
Spoonie?
I think we need to stop assuming and have the town manager sit down with the sheriff or talk with the sheriff and get some facts and figures. Because, I mean, we can second guess all of this. But you have to understand, sometimes the training is out of his hands. All the training's dictated through the academy, what you want to say.
All right, so we're looking for all those in favor of the motion? One opposed? Oh, we're gonna go against. We get to 0.
Yeah, we're going to get 0.
Okay, so we gotta say a vote against. All those opposed?
I'm opposed.
Yeah, both ways.
All right, so that didn't make it, so we need another motion.
Do you wanna increase it more to 75 extra, or do you wanna just go back to the original?
I think we gotta go back to the original myself.
Yeah, I don't think we got enough information to
We have
move
enough
on that.
information. I think Selman is right.
Yeah, but, so now we go to town meeting and we don't even have a dollar amount to put in there. We can't hold this off and then wait until we get a better figure.
Yeah, I mean, just don't, we're not gonna have
Because
to.
we can't, if we put it in, if we go to town meeting, we can't up the budget. We can't increase them.
Right. We can bring it back before we go to town meeting.
Right.
Yeah, I think we gotta get this moving because we're running out of time as far as dates and having stuff done, so I think we're running out of time. With our having to meet deadlines.
I know, but.
I think it's important to have, Kathy, but you're looking at way of the most expensive position in town. Is it worth paying $250,000 a year for that position? You don't pay anybody
I'll
else.
shoot it down.
Yeah, we just put a few marijuana plants
Just
here.
Mr. Ford.
There we go.
Okay, let's move
Can somebody help me on what we're trying to accomplish with this person, what the role is?
I think it's an officer at school during the
Do
school
what?
day, doing whatever an SRO does. I don't have any idea.
They
That's what I'm
interact,
asking.
they interact with all 3 schools, and
They investigate stuff.
they are at the middle school in the morning, in the afternoon when the buses arrive, They're in the schools, they're not armed. They're in uniform, but not armed. It's educational. They're interacting with the students. The last two we've had, especially Chelsea, was amazing with the kids, and it just created, the kids felt safer, the teachers felt safer. We didn't have the fighting, the drugs. And when I tell you it's increasing, it's increasing. And at 10, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. This isn't high school problem. This is
Middle school.
This is middle school that we're having serious issues with. And having this person as under the law, able to act, able to walk that 2 feet off the pavement, because these kids are just like everything else going on in this country. They step on the other side of the street, and there's nothing that the school can do. When they're beating up kids, as soon as they get off the bus and try to go home, they're selling drugs in your playground up here, as the kids are coming and going, that twice a day. But the interaction in the schools with, like at the elementary school, sitting and reading with them in the library during reading time, we're establishing a relationship that's positive with law enforcement, not negative. So if we can change the minds of some kids, it's worth it.
I heard Skowhegan has 2 of these.
Yes, they have one that is from the town of Skowhegan. And they asked the sheriff to provide them with a second one. And they paying for it, but they
Just like hospital
provide
has.
So
Yeah, and
Skowhegan is paying $500,000 a year for 2 cops.
I don't know what to tell you.
I guess that's before I want to allocate any money, I want to know what other schools are doing and what other schools are paying.
Well, I think the trained officer was 150,
Yes.
so it's this
Or
first
second
year
year.
that, yeah,
Yes,
year
second
2,
year.
so.
She's paying for the training.
Year 2 is 150,
Yeah.
so they could be paying 300,000.
So let's,
It seemed like it was a lot less than that, because I remember following that story, and it seemed like they were only paying them during the school year period.
right, that is what they do, yes.
So having a text conversation with the sheriff here, he said that we could start a conversation with the county administrator about the county absorbing some of the costs. So would it be reasonable if we put $50,000 on the table for the town, $50,000 for the school district, and then maybe the county could pick up some of it? And then if it doesn't work out by June 10th, the town meeting, we can just eliminate that piece.
I'm fine with that.
And have it as a placeholder.
That sound reasonable?
I think, I just would like to say that I think it is a real benefit, not just in the school necessarily for the SRO, but working at the town office many times, I would go out that back door and I walk down by the basketball courts and where the kids were playing lots of times. And I'm gonna tell you what, there were some kids that were doing things that weren't right, and I heard several times, wherever I was, even other places in town where I was walking, and I am a walker, so, and I would hear kids say, you know, Chelsea said not to do that. And she was, so it helped the other kids to, when they saw somebody else, one of their peers doing something wrong, that's what Chelsea said, not to do that. You know, it was easy for them to say that. It just came out of their mouths like, you know, it was like, it wasn't a big deal, rather than them having to say it for themselves, that, you know, that's wrong, you shouldn't be doing that. It was like, Chelsea wouldn't want you to do that, she said not to do that. So it was just easy for them to say that.
Mr. Duchamp?
I think there's a fair consensus around the room that we need to do this. And we've talked about it and talked about it, but nobody said, there's some money, make it happen.
Right.
And I think that's where we're at. The school district's willing to put some money on the table. If we're willing to put some money on the table, then we go to the sheriff and say, there's some money on the table, make it happen. Figure out a way to make it happen. That's what we pay you to do. We pay a contract for you to handle policing in our town. That's what we pay $576,000. And by the way, when we first started with the sheriff's department, it was $585,000 the first year. Just so you know. But that's what we pay him to do. We are now putting our money where our mouth is, because we've said this for 2 or 3 years running. We put money in the budget for an SRO School district puts money in the budget for an SRO, figure out a way to make it happen, and if there's a shortfall, we'll figure out a way, how to cover it.
Go ahead.
And I don't have a problem with 50 or 40 or whatever number we wanna put in there, because we need to say we're serious about it. Can you guys match 50?
I'll let you take that.
Still comes out the same money.
Yes.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't-
Mr. Chairman?
That piece doesn't matter. We're saying,
Al,
get it
and I'm not sure if this question is in order, but who is Chelsea and where is she now?
No, she's not. She was the SRO a few years ago. She's not there.
Is she still an employee of the sheriff's
No,
department?
no.
She went to another department.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had one more quick comment, not to belabor this any more than we already have, but I mean, if we put some amount of money in there, I think it sends the right message. I think if we put $40,000 in there, they know we're serious. You know, you can always vote to take it back out again tonight.
Yeah, we just keep doing that.
And
Yes, sir.
one quick thing.
Yeah.
I got one more question about public safety before you vote on the bottom line,
Yep.
not police related.
Okay, yes, sir.
Is there anything, and I don't think there is, why can't we directly hire our own SRO?
You have to be deputized.
I don't.
No, they have to be certified as law enforcement, but we can hire them. We can hire them directly. S2671, please, employment, except as provided by charter, blah, blah, blah. The municipal officers may appoint police officers for a definite term and control and fix their compensation. So, we're just assuming the sheriff is being above board and saying how much the cost is. We haven't done our own research, and I don't think that's due diligence without doing that. Who says we can, not to say we could find one, but we should at least look into directly hiring one.
We can. I mean, I'm not gonna say we're going to, but we can. yeah.
I think we should look at options there.
I get the point that everybody is on the same sheet of music as far as wanting an officer in the schools, but we're banging our heads against the wall right here. Why don't we do our homework first, even if we have to come back next week, one night, and have all the figures there and all the questions answered, have the sheriff here, and then make a decision. I mean, we're just guessing right now, 40, 50, 100. Everybody's guessing and nobody knows anything for sure. So let's do the homework first and then get a figure and then put it in the budget. I mean, everybody here is on the same sheet of music. So let's do our homework and find out what it's gonna cost us to get an officer in that school. But before you do that, you gotta do your homework first.
Alright, so you're saying pass over Article 7?
Pass over until you got something substantial to vote on.
Is that agreeable? Okay. Alright, so let's move on to Article 8, I'm sorry. Public utility, yes.
Can you stand just a little bit more conversation about the public safety?
Yep.
All I wanted to know, is there an explanation of the dramatic increase in the ambulance budget?
Yes.
I have it, but if you wanna,
The per capita, the ambulance went up by per capita,
$2, I believe, right?
it's a total of $18,000, so they went up, I think, $4, from 17 per capita to 21 per capita.
We went down a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We probably should not have gone down as much as we went down. But times were tough, and so, I mean, we have a hard,
They still are, Al.
well, we have a very hard time collecting, reimbursement coming in. I mean, we write off a lot of receivables. And so, I mean, we had a couple of years we went down, and we probably, I was part of it, probably should not have gone as much as we did. But we were trying to save money, and, you know, we have some old ambulances that need to be rebooted, and,
Yep, okay.
okay?
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to number 3, public utilities, Article 8. Street, from 1001 to 1001, I'm sorry, 1001, 1501 to 1001-3020. All right, street lights, fire, hydrants, protection, stormwater, and wastewater. All right, Need a motion from the board?
I'll make a motion for the $640,000 for putting telegrams.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the $640,000 minus the TIF money of $30,000 to bring that to $610,000 to taxation, to take this to town meeting. Any questions? Yes.
Last year, the advisory board voted to put 50,000 aside towards the future purchase of a fire truck.
That's at the end.
That's at the,
Yeah, this is
that-
not. This is
okay,
not-
I didn't know where exactly that was.
Yeah, at the capital.
Capital,
accounts.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, seeing no questions, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, you've seen what the select board has done with item number 3, $640,000 with $30,000 coming from TIF. We'd like to make the net $610,000. Chair awaits a motion.
Second.
Been moved and supported. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Number 4, Public Works. It's gonna be 1501 through 1510. And we are on page, not pages, I don't remember, so, page 5, I guess it is, page 5.
Page 5 on the big one, page 6 on the little one.
All right, looking for a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion for $885,065 for public works.
All right, we have a second. All right, we have a motion in the Public Works, Article 9, to take the town meeting of $885.65 minus the TIF money of $35,000 to go for a total of $850,065 to taxation. Any questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Moody?
Are we behind on safety equipment and stuff of that nature? It seems like it's gone from 1,500 to 3,500. Is there a reason for it?
Yeah, right, they were way behind.
Pardon?
They were way behind on a lot of stuff, like cones, vests, all that stuff.
Okay, I just wanted an explanation, because that's quite a bounce.
Yeah, that was all obsolete stuff.
Okay,
Mr. Lloyd?
Yeah, there's a modest increase in payroll, but almost a doubling of workers' comp. Is that because of experience modifications gone up? What's the situation with that?
Town manager?
I'm not sure why workers' comp has gone up, other than we did have an injury this past year that may have taken a toll
That's all
on
it
the.
takes.
Yeah, we definitely had an injury. And we're already at 167% of budget.
Yeah.
So, it seemed reasonable to me to make sure that we have enough to cover it for next year.
Who provides workers' comp to municipalities? I have no idea.
Maine Municipal Health Trust,
Okay. And do they have
They're self-funded.
loss control people?
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And after the injury, they did come in and do an assessment and make recommendations of things to change in the department.
I believe over the last few years, we've been reimbursed from what we paid in to what we have actually not spent, but because we've done some things, had
Right.
no injuries.
Same thing they do in the private sector. They keep you money for a year, and then they give you a
Right,
little bit of
we've
it back.
gotten some of that back.
Discount.
Yeah.
Right.
They tell you they're doing you a favor too.
Exactly.
All right, looking for a vote. All those in favor of $885,065? All in favor? All right. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Al. Okay, you've heard what the select board has done. Motion is for $885,000 $65, and including a TIF reduction of $35,000 for a net of $850,065. Chair waits a moment.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? It's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, moving on to recreation, at the bottom of page 7. And we have Article 10, which is 2001 to 2002. The town manager is recommending $131,610.
This is a significant increase because we are proposing to go to a full-time rec director.
All right, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion for the $131,610.
Second, we have a motion and a second to send to town meeting $131,610 for Article 10, Parks and Recreation. Any questions? Mr. Lloyd?
I'm having trouble finding the Parks and Recreations on the big
Page
sheet.
7. Bottom of page 7.
Page 9.
Okay, thank you. If I could?
Yes.
Jim? I'm very much an advocate of recreation, and I think it's a wonderful thing, but if we gotta choose from a budgetary perspective between having an officer in the school or having a full-time rec director, I know which way I'd vote, just saying.
We have a recreation committee that's put a lot of time into figuring it out. Christie is here if she wants to comment.
Please do.
We've had various models, and the model that we were using to this point has been commissioners for different sports. I should probably let Christie talk and not keep talking, but we have.
All those in favor of that? Sorry, Al.
They have looked, I believe, at moving more towards the kids' sports, but also offering some adult sports, adult open gyms and adult things that they can, pickleball, I think it's big right now for the retired people. And Mr. Lloyd, you can help me, Mr. Lloyd, if that's the case, with pickleball and stuff like that. Right?
Yep.
But I'll let Christie go.
Okay, so I have been the co-interim rec director since last August with Evan Noyes, and so we pulled together back a committee that has gone over all of our bylaws, gone over all of our creating job descriptions and making sure that commissioners are doing what they're supposed to be doing for the rec sports. We also put out a survey, of which I have some of the copies, but this is the results of the survey. So we learned that 45% of Madison residents are over the age of 50 and 29% are over the age of 65. And as we look around the room, I might be the only one that's 1 year under 50. So, with not a whole lot to do.
You kind of jumped to that conclusion, huh?
That's just an assumption.
Thank you.
So we've been at a very part-time basis. Both Amber and I have very busy full-time jobs. So what we've done is we put this out there to see if the community would even be interested in it. So the goal is to hire a full-time rec director, and what we did is we put this, their pay equivalent to the department heads at the town. So it's equivalent to the CEO, the code enforcement officer, with full-time benefits. So that's where you're seeing the largest increase. But then we've also gone from a very small amount of funding to help support Preble Avenue Fields, because historically we've gotten a lot of help from the schools. And that is not happening anymore, including the equipment and their time, unfortunately. So we have put in for a 20-hour position, of which Devin Watts has been doing that for the last year, and he's been doing a wonderful job. And so we did put in for that, whether it's Devin or not, but we did put in for that. So our plan is to not only offer the rec sports, get the rec sports up to where I feel like they used to be. I don't feel like we're offering as much as we used to offer, and so doing that. The rec director will also have the responsibility of providing leisure activities for all ages. So that will be for hopefully hopefully we'll also be able to help offer an after-school program at Madison Elementary School for pre-K through 2, which could be a revenue generating for our department. And we're hoping that this person that we hire will also have grant writing experience or learn that, so that eventually, 3 to 5 years down the road, their pay will be paid for through grants. Lots of grants come through the door. So this is my hope is a temporary amount of dollars that will get this moving, and then down the road it will be paying for itself. We've also met with, we talked with Jason Weber, who was down at Orchard Beach and was part-time here many years ago. Gave us lots of great ideas. He's doing wonderful things down there. And so this is where we're at.
Asked and answered very well, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those on the board in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
Okay, you've seen the action that the board has taken on Park and Recreation, $131,610. What is your wish?
Second.
Moved and seconded, is there additional discussion? All those in favor? Note my vote.
Do I have to abstain?
No.
I do.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 6, Article 11.
What are we gonna pay that rec director for a year? 75,000?
No, that includes their full-time benefits. It is $23 an hour. And then, so it's 47,000 a year, plus their health insurance and their benefits.
The health insurance and everything adds up to
Yeah.
75,000.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, number 6, Article 11, Cemeteries, Forest Hills, 2501 to 2513. We, the town manager is recommending $49,250. Looking for a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion that we spend $49,250 on this cemetery. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to, Article 11, to bring to town meeting $49,250. Any questions from the board? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Okay. So nobody had a question?
So have you figured in what we get from our investments?
I had to ask the same question.
I didn't
Because I
look
think
at
that,
it.
I think that pays for the
I'm thinking the words here.
Yeah, I did not look at the revenue side of it.
Still have to approve it. You have to put it in here and it comes out.
Oh, even we budgeted for
Right.
it, but it
We
would come
budget
out
the
of
expense.
so it offsets.
Offset
Okay,
it.
all right, okay, that's all, okay.
All right, so, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. 49,250. Okay, you've heard the select board has recommended the amount of 49,250. What's your pleasure?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Chairman.
All right, number 7, Article 12, Library 3205. The town manager has recommended $147,790. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion for $147,790 for the locker room.
Yeah, second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Bartlett?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. At the budget meeting a couple of weeks ago with the advisory board and the budget committee and the selectmen, I asked about the possibility of putting some money in for literacy volunteers. And I've attended a few classes, 2 classes actually, over at Farmington. And the people, or the students who sign up for the program, there's a very minimal amount of expense for them, but they like to have support rather than have these students. They don't want them to not participate in the program for a relatively small amount of money. And I haven't had a chance to talk with Julie, but they've strongly advised to have the literacy program using the library resources. And I know Randy has talked to me or sent an email and possibly putting it under community service. But the library really has the assets there. You have the reading material in places, and they also have the facilities that we could use. And I would suggest or ask that they put in another, like I say, apologize, Julie, I just got this today, so I haven't had a chance to talk to you. And Julie put me on to the folks with literacy volunteers over there in Farmington area, so Franklin County. And so I'd like to ask if they'd put another $150 into perhaps the books and magazines. And if it may be needed, it may not. We really don't know. And it's a fairly modest amount of money.
I guess I would direct that to Julie and ask if you would have that much money available in what you already have.
Well, we're rolling in money at the library.
Well, I know, that's why I brought you.
Well, since I just found out about this, I mean, literacy volunteers is one program. I don't know exactly what the nuts and bolts would be for dispersing that money. Is that something extra that I've got to like put into the town if somebody needs transportation funds or something like that? So I actually, just off the top of my head, would prefer that it come out of community service and then it would be dispersed from the town office. If somebody needed, I don't even know what it would be used for. We have 16,000 plus volumes. We have over 4,000 children's books. We have, the remainder in adult books, heavily more fiction than nonfiction, but we still have several thousand books in the adult nonfiction section. So we have a wide variety of materials that people can use. Our problem is, our building was built in 1906. We don't have a door, besides the bathrooms and the office, we don't have a room with a door, so people can go and have a private conversation. They can use a couple of study stations downstairs. They can use the reading room. We do have people who do, we have people who come as community support workers, as case workers, as career service people. They use the reading room. I have no problem with anybody with literacy volunteers using the library. In fact, I think it would be fantastic. But as far as dispersing the money, I would prefer that that come directly from the town office as a community organization, because then it's not tangled up in my budget if we need more money, if we need less money. Did we use the money? Did I use it for the right thing, or what have you? So if that makes sense. I think it's a great program. If you can find some place to build in some incentives for people to have gas money to get over to Farmington. I know not everybody wants to do Zoom calls, and I have done about 7,000 of them in the last 4 years, so I'm done with that too. But at least it's not Bangor, it's Farmington, which is Franklin County, so it's a 40-minute ride.
There wouldn't be any expense over to Farmington. The program would take place here in Madison. It would not take place in Farmington. So any money, and as far as Julie's concerned, moving it into the community service, I really have no problem with that.
I mean, you can use the building as a public space.
Right.
I just don't know what you'd be using the money for if it wasn't for transportation. If it was for materials or something like that, then I think we should have a separate line.
And the people who utilize this, they have a variety of things. They do have some that they provide transportation for, they have in the past, but I guess for every person that participates in the program, you have different needs for that person. Some of them might be for just some basic reading material possibly, similar to school supplies, or possibly the transportation too, but it would be a very minimal amount, and if Julie suggests putting it into the community service, I really have no problem with that. It's just someplace having it.
Okay. All right, so we have 147,790.
Okay, but
But we have a question, because that says 147,900. 790, but on the paper it said 147,350.
Let me check that out.
There's a couple of them that are doing that.
My apologies. Hang on, I'll get you the right number.
Julie, is that money come from private donation?
No.
Is there not?
It says right here,
So it's the same problem exists.
Right.
I'm doing the wrong thing. Yeah, 147, 350, but on the page it says 147, 790. Here's a different
The
40.
correct number should be,
Nothing's easy, is it?
please, 147,350.
All right, so we're gonna amend.
Should be 147, 350.
So that's,
Library should be 147,350.
What? You're taking money away from me already?
all right, so we have a motion.
Tell you what.
We have a motion and a second for the library for 147,350. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
Thanks, Al. Okay, the select board has voted to recommend 147,350 under the library. What's your pleasure?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Conversation? Nothing? All those in favor? Those opposed? It's a vote.
Great,
Mr. Chairman.
thanks, guys.
All right, do we want to take a break and have the sandwiches that they have up there? We can take a 15-minute break. Take a break. All right, line up, get your sandwiches, get your drink.
My camera is 1 minute away from dying too.
Good timing.
All right. Okay, so we're on number 8, community service, Article 13, general assistance at $24,500. Recycling committee, $5,000. Sea Cadets, $1,000. Lake Association, $15,000. American Legion and VFW, $1,500. Food coverage, $16,500. Recycling, hazardous waste, $1,000. Kennebec behavioral health, $500. Lakewood Theater, $5,000. St. Sebastian Cemetery, $1,000. Madison Business Alliance, $7,500. The Life Flight Foundation, $1,200. The Maine Public Radio and TV for $100. Community programs for $35,01, $55,300. KV CAT Transportation, $2,500. Anson Madison Senior Citizens for $4,500. Spectrum Generations for $5,000. Humane Society for $10,000. And Hospice Volunteers for $3,000. For a total of, that total is $25,000, for a total of $104,800. Taking $5,000 from the TIF, we have a total of $99,800 brought to taxation. All right, we have a representative here from Lifelight. This is the first time we've had them on our list, I believe. If you would like to enlighten us.
Sure. Where would you like me to stand?
Oh, that's good right there.
That's good, okay, sorry. Hi, everybody, thank you for having me. My name is Kate O'Halloran, I'm the Executive Director of the Lifelight Foundation, and I live just up the road on the Fairfield-Skowhegan line, so I am a local Maine gal. Lifelight's commitment is that every person in Maine has access to medical care and transport wherever they are, whenever they need it. And I probably don't need to tell you, because we live here in Somerset County, that the Maine's healthcare system is fragile and fragmented and going in the wrong direction. And Lifelight serves as a real critical link. A lot of times people hear about Lifelight on the news, it's because we've been in a snowmobile accident, we shut down the highway last week, there's been an accident in Sawmill. The reality is 90% of our transports are hospital to hospital. So someone comes into a hospital in Skowhegan, Farmington, Waterville, Augusta, Greenville, wherever they are, and they need to get to the right care, they go by Lifelight. So we serve all of Maine, We are a nonprofit, we're the only air ambulance service in Maine. We've been around 25 years. We have 5 helicopters now, so they are based in Sanford, in Lewiston, in Bangor. We have a plane in Bangor. I was just looking at the plane log today. It was coming to Waterville, got diverted to Presque Isle, has been to Boston. The plane is busy. We also now have ground ambulances, because I don't need to tell you the weather in Maine is getting more complicated. And the key for us is to be reliable, so that when someone calls us, we can answer the call for help. So now those ground ambulances are going to be able to do that. They are not your typical community ambulance. The other thing that I just want to let you know is that it's more than just the helicopters. It's the reality is that we have $500,000 of medical equipment in every single asset that we have. So when you see that helicopter flying, it has more equipment than a lot of community hospitals in Maine. It has blood, it has a lab, and it has things to keep people alive, because for us, we are the only second chance that a lot of people have. I think the other thing is that people don't realize how often we fly. Last year, we transported 2,468 patients. It's an average of 1 patient every 3.5 hours. So we are busy and getting busier. Last year, we transported patients from 124 communities, islands, and unorganized townships. And every year, we come to communities across Maine and ask for support. And this year, we're asking you to consider joining the 200 or so other towns and communities in Maine that support LifeFlight. It's not so much about the number. Our ask for you is $1,181, which is based on a per capita rate of 25 cents a citizen. But whatever the amount, we just ask you to consider giving something, because it's really important when we go out and try to get a lot of other fundraising. People ask us what towns and communities do, and it's just a real vote of support. Because the other thing we do is we work with first responders around the chain of survival, so we do a lot of education, we do landing zone training, and we really try to support the partners who are out there on the front line taking care of people in Maine. I'm almost done. I just did want to say, because this is the favorite part of my job, is coming to these and talking in communities, and I always want to make you understand what it means to Madison. So since we started LifeFlight in 1998, we've transported 253 Madison residents. 17 of those were last year. We've also done 15 scene calls. So LifeFlight is important to all of us who live in and love our life in Maine, and I would just ask and encourage your support. If you have any questions at all, happy to take them now or at any time. And I don't know if anybody has questions, thoughts, or if you know someone that's had a LifeFlight. I will tell you, since we've been doing this, we've transported 38,000 patients. So pretty much anywhere I go with a shirt on, someone says thank you. LifeFlight has touched a lot of lives. And we find when we transport a person, it's not just the person, it's their family, it's their neighbors, it's their community, it's their colleagues. And we are really the only chance a lot of people have. So.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Yes, Louis?
I guess I'm just curious what all this money accomplishes.
Sure. So, great question. So the foundation was set up, we raise money for capital. So we raise money for all of the fleet. Our helicopters are $6.5 million, we have 5 of them. We need a new plane, and the ground ambulances, as well as infrastructure. So we have a whole series of landing zones. We provide infrastructure, runway cameras, weather stations. We also do all the medical equipment, so we're raising $1 million this year for medical equipment, because we run through it a lot and we need to keep it updated, as well as education, so we can train our crew and all of the providers. So that's all the money. So we raise money from individuals, foundations, businesses, and communities to do that. And then LifeFlight is supported by, and you talked a little bit about reimbursements. Most of the people that we transport don't have insurance, and that's fine. The ones that do, we do collect a little bit. We're in network, so we do get, the LifeFlight of Maine does get reimbursed when they can get it for transports. But the difference between us is we will never go after someone. We will never take a house. We ask people to pay. If they can pay, great. If they don't, that's fine too. That's what we do. We do for the people in Maine.
Well, as someone who benefited from that in 2022, I think
Oh, well, thank you. It's great. Thanks for sharing that. Glad to see you.
that was my
Thank
vote.
you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, we're looking for a motion to approve $104,800 to send to town meeting, with a reduction of $5,000 in tip for $99,800.
Mr. Chairman, would this be appropriate if, from what Julia said and what I've discussed earlier about putting perhaps $150 in for literacy volunteers?
I would say it's probably the place to put it. So we'll make it 35, 10, 40, 80. Does that make sense?
You're adding 150?
150.
And I have no idea whether that would be used or not, but if we had a client that needed some assistance, it would be a little bit for help.
All right, so we're looking at $104,950. Need for a motion.
I'll make a motion, but can I first, Denise, is it 104 or is it 109?
It's 104. The 5,000 for the first line of recycle was added in twice. My apologies. It's $104,800
Okay.
plus one thing.
I'll make a motion for $104,950 for the community services.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to take for community service programs, $104,950 with $5,000 taken out from TIF, which would be $99,950. Any other questions? Mr. Wood?
Al, is there an explanation for the dramatic increase in the Lake Association and also the Business Alliance?
I can talk to the Lake Association. The Lake Association came to us and they take care of everything at the lake, and they are going to have more people for longer periods of time at the boat landing. They're looking for any invasive species. They've had some trouble with that, and they really want to pick up their enforcement of that at various times. So they're getting people going early in the morning, and they're discovering things that should not be there. And I cannot talk on the Business Alliance, so I will let a Business Alliance person or Mrs. Bouchon.
The Business Alliance is asking for an additional $4,500 to help pay for the administrative assistant and to help grow the Business Alliance and the projects and the events that they do. Currently, they have one payroll person, so for $3,000, that's all that they're getting, and that's paying for somebody to be their administrative assistant all year long. So they're asking for an increase to $7,500 for the additional administrative assistant hours that they want to be able to put in, for additional events that they want to be able to help organize. So.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Am I allowed? Never mind. Go cut your library.
You can do whatever you want.
What is handicap transportation? They don't even, they're not running the Somerset Explorer here anymore. And I just wondered what it was paying for.
I think the KB Cap comes to, they now set up pickups for people. I mean, I've seen the KB Cap being in town a lot. I don't have the exact thing, but I've seen them around. I know they do not have the Explorer anymore.
Right.
Mr. Woods?
I was just curious what they spent the money on, that's all.
Well, I can give you the answer to that, Julie. It's for a One Madison Avenue program. To try to transport them.
Oh,
to
this is
Madison.
for the program that they changed from $2 a person to $100
Yeah.
a day, okay.
I want to make a comment that I'm hoping we don't have to use it. Because I'm still hoping we find an alternative. the 2,500. It's nice that it's there to cover in case we can't find something. But I know that Living Well's looking into something that's sustainable and alternate.
All right, so.
Well, that's the second thing I found out today, so, great.
You don't just want to collaborate.
Seeing no other questions, all those in favor on the board? All in favor, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Al. You've seen the action that the select board has taken. $104,950 under community service, less the TIF amount of $5,000 for a net of $99,950. The chair awaits a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded? Yes.
So, what do we get from Lakewood Theater for our $5,000?
I'm certainly not qualified to answer that. Maybe there's somebody here that could.
It's the oldest theater in the United States, so we get to try to keep it open. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
generates hopefully revenue for the town.
It's
But
the
we
new
don't get
show.
like free tickets or anything.
No, there's a lot of
It's a new
people
show.
that do it.
When the $5,000 for Lakewood Theater was originally approved by the Board of Selectmen, it was approved, and you see that there's an offset of $5,000 from TIF. That's the Lakewood money. TIF money is used for Lakewood, it just happens to be lumped into here. But Lakewood, for years and years and years, never asked anything from the town, and we had TIF money, and they were struggling, and we said we want to help them out because they are a draw for the town of Madison.
No question.
And so we felt it was important, at the time when I was on the board, that we provide them with continuing support ongoing, and we felt that using the TIF money was appropriate, and that's why that's in there.
Additional questions, comments? Yes.
So, I know I looked up why it's now in community service instead of the way Jack used to do it, is that they wanted to give the town a chance to actually have a say in it, so the voter. So that's why it's now part of this instead of the way it was.
Any additional questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Benzino.
Thank you. Number 9, tax town-owned property, Article 14, Old Point Avenue, $25,625. Main Street, $6,080. Town signs, $350. Boat landing, $1,350. Weston Avenue Ice Rink, $5,000, for a total of $38,405. Looking for a motion to approve and take the town meeting what the town manager has recommended.
I'll make a motion for $38,405 for town property.
All right, we have a motion and a second for $38,405. Any questions, Mr. Bartlett?
Where is the ice rink going to be?
Town manager?
We're still working on that, but we're looking at a couple of different locations, one of them being the park right next to where the playground is. Or if we can make it work, maybe down at the Preble Avenue Fields, somewhere in that area. So that's why we've bumped up the cost a little bit, because we want to be able to purchase a liner and boards and make sure that we can have the facility to house the extra skates and everything like that.
Thank you.
I believe the rec committee voted that it would be on Main Street, and then if by chance it's not able to be there, then the second option.
Mr. Bliss?
Would it be good to eliminate the wording Weston Ave? That would eliminate some of that confusion.
Just go ice rink?
Yeah.
Yep, we can do that.
Yep.
Take that off.
Yep, done.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Boyd?
Thank you, Mr. V. Okay, the select board has voted to recommend $38,405 under the town-owned property. What is your wish? So moved. Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Al?
All right, we're gonna go through these one at a time, and we'll ask the road commissioner to talk about the first two, but we'll talk about, first highway equipment, and these are in capital now, so these are designated for certain things. So the first one is highway equipment 6001. The town manager is recommending 200, and the road commissioner are recommending $250,089 to go to town meeting. Mr. Road Commissioner.
That is for the new excavator. The one we have now is about 22 years old. We can't find parts for it anymore. We can't, I've contacted the dealer, everything. And that would be minus 20,000 if we did get money for that, because they would take the old one and take 20,000 for that. Or we have an option of leasing one, and I think that total, I can't remember the exact number, but I think he said somewhere around $6,600 a month to lease.
So how many months would you lease it for?
About 5. Because that's when we do most of our ditching, you know, culvert replacement and all that stuff.
So, Lloyd, you have a question?
Just curious, the machine you're talking about purchasing is rubber tired, correct?
Yes.
Is that mandatory? Would a track machine and a 20-ton tag-along trailer work for you?
That would too, but I was just worried that it was gonna be more than what.
If you wanted to rent, like a 135, John Deere, it would be, I got those numbers here somewhere. Yeah, be $5,500 a month, unless, and if you wanted to go 4 months, they would reduce that to $4,500 a month. So you know that would make a pretty substantial cut in your amount of money that first year, especially, that you'd have to put forward. Now, on top of that, you'd have to buy a 30-ton trailer for somewhere in the vicinity of $25,000 to $30,000. But you're looking at renting this size machine from, I got numbers from Eagle Rental. For 4 months, it would cost you $18,000 a year. I mean, I think it's something that we could look at.
Yep.
Should look at. Now, it's a track machine, it's not a rubber tied machine. Hey, have you got Class A drivers?
We have 2.
Oh.
Myself and another guy.
I mean, just a suggestion.
Yep.
Mr. Duchamp.
Just for clarification, I thought we used the excavator for ditching.
We do.
If you're using the excavator for ditching, you don't want to run a track machine across hot top.
Unless it's rubber.
This size machine wouldn't be a problem.
Right, yeah, 135 wouldn't be a problem.
Okay,
The state does, that's what the state uses.
Okay.
The Eagle Rental rents 20 of those every year to the state.
guy that digs holes in the
You guys.
Remember our agreement? Just wanted to understand.
You can get rubber tracks, but it limits the availability because they're
What's
scarce.
the reach on the 135?
It's, you wait, I got it right here, everything you might want to know, right here.
Because we gotta get to about 22 feet for our sand from the town-owned pit.
Yeah, I think you'd be all right. If you go with a track machine, the chances of finding one are going to be a lot higher. You know, finding a rubber tie machine to rent is going to be tough. In there, a comparable size machine on rubber is $8,800.
Yeah.
All right, so we have $250,089 recommended. We have a question on whether we should be renting instead of purchasing. I mean, I don't know in 1 year. I mean, in our other projects such as fire trucks and all of that stuff, we've always put like $50,000 a year away, and when we got close, we purchased them. So I don't know about spending $250,000 in 1 year. I mean, I think that's quite a bit. Robin, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's just about numbers. I'm seeing 633,089 And then on our spreadsheet, 765, 357, which are we voting on?
If you're looking at the spreadsheet and it says on the highway purchase 357,
Yep.
that includes 107 from Article 21, which is a carry forward. So that 107 is not in the 633. So it's still off though. Yeah, so the other 50,000 is from the fire equipment.
But that's in there.
So you're looking at $157,000 different. Wait a minute. Hang on, I'm sorry.
You're showing 25,000 for cemetery and capital also in the spreadsheet.
I have a 132,268 difference between the two numbers.
Okay.
357.
357 minus 107. So the 250,000 for the highway equipment
My first
Yep.
year.
is
Yeah.
minus 107,000, which is Article 21 in the capital carry forward.
I can't, I don't even guess.
Okay, so there's 107,000.
5 or 6 months, use it.
Okay, and then the road surface projects is correct,
If we-
sidewalks is correct.
Well, and maybe this is a terrible idea, the rent is.
75,
If you could
okay.
consolidate.
Yeah, so
the work you do
25,000
for-
on
Right.
cemetery is
I'd say
not
around
in,
135 for the 4 months, 'cause it
the
reduces
capital.
rental per month.
I-
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time
I'm
hearing
talking
you.
Eagle rental, these
Hey,
are
guys.
what I'm talking.
And I agree with
Sorry.
All right. I'm sorry.
so,
that.
Jeffrey?
are you guys done? Are you done?
I didn't say anything. That was Dawn. That was your fire chief.
Oh my God, I get blamed for everything.
All right, so we had 25,268, and you said 25 was the cemetery cap.
25 is the cemetery.
Yeah.
107,000 is the carryover for the highway equipment.
Right.
Then we've also got 8,000, which is carryover, not carryover, excuse me, that is on the spreadsheet that didn't make it to Article 10, which I gotta add to it, is culverts.
Okay, so again, my question is which one are we voting on tonight?
We're gonna vote on all of it, Robin, but it's gonna be in pieces, right.
Okay,
So let me just make sure I've got that right, so,
because you lost me at the...
I know, I'm sorry.
You're gonna recognize me even after you gabbled me out?
The guys behind you.
Hey, one potential fly in the ointment with this idea of renting, which I think would be very advantageous to the town, is, if I understand it correctly, that would probably have to come out of the operating budget, couldn't be paid for within the capital budget, is that correct?
Right.
So we'd have to all collectively understand that would be the reason for what would appear to be a pretty substantial increase in the operating budget,
Right.
just saying.
If you're talking, if you said 6,500,
Actually, you can rent a 315 size machine. Mike said he thought 5 months. Anything more than 4 months, they'll rent it for $4,500 a month rather than $55. So it's, you know, it's a fairly substantial. I mean, you're talking 4 months, $18,000 versus 3 months at $16,500.
I think that's pretty explainable when we get to the town meeting.
I think so, and I just think rather than stepping out and spending, you know, scary close to 300 grand, this is probably a good option. And I think once the guys run the track machine, they'll be happy they had it.
Well, I also agree with Jeff that we can consolidate within that 4 months, make all that work happen in 4 months instead of 5.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna be some scheduling issues
Right.
for you, I'm sure, but, you know, if you line that stuff all up, you know, you can
Yep.
have rain days and all of that, but it gives you, 4 months gives you a pretty good,
Yep.
pretty good time frame.
Yep.
And they got a bunch of different machines, if you realize that you needed a smaller machine, I mean, you could do that too, so.
All right, so how do we want to handle this? Do we want to take that completely out and just say 0? And then we can go back, we'll have to go back. When we come back again for the police, we'll come back and bring the highway one back and just add that to it once we get figures that are accurate for that. Alright, so we're recommending 0, is that what we're gonna do?
You wanna table it?
Yeah, let's table that until we get figures.
Sorry, Al, I maybe should have brought that up under the operating part
Oh,
of it.
we should have, Jeff, but that's okay.
You can hit me with a gavel again if you want to.
Okay, so let's move on to road surface projects. 181,725. Mike, what do you got for that?
That would be the overlay in Preble Ave, because they're not gonna be able to get their grant money for 3 to 5 years.
So that's from
From end of Preble Ave up to the ball field.
over from Old Point
Yeah,
Avenue all the way
yeah,
to the
Old
ball
Point all the
field.
way down to the ball field.
So that basically finishes us with Preble Avenue then.
Right, minus the work they're gonna do in
Right,
3 to
yes.
5 years, yes.
Yep.
And then Bean Street, that would have to be overlaid too, because they're not gonna have to do that either.
So just so for those of you who haven't been here before, what Mike's talking about is usually when we do road projects, we coordinate with sewer and water, so we dig it up once. And we've talked about Bean Street over and over again. Bean Street needs to be done, and they're, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but they are not gonna have money enough to do either one of those, either sewer or water at this point.
Correct.
So we're just simply gonna overlay it, make
Yeah.
it smooth again.
Yeah.
The same thing on Preble Avenue. And
Yeah.
as soon as they have money, we'll work at getting both sewer and water done.
Right.
Does that make sense? Is there any other roads?
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me.
River Road?
River Road widening,
Yeah.
that second part by the pit there, that wasn't finished last year, or the year before. That finished, moving over 11 feet off that steep embankment, back to this side.
Okay.
And then there's some
Yeah, I think
curving and,
the poles have been moved, right?
yes,
Yep.
Do we own that? Do we
and
own
it's,
that? We do own that? Why do you think so? Okay, I heard that.
I have no idea.
Do we own that section?
Yes.
we do.
That was deeded to the town.
It was deeded to the town, but I'm just waiting for Sack and Break to give me that information to make sure that the rest of that was deeded. Because I couldn't find any information on it.
For the, because part of, it was by, was it Barkwell that owns the rest of that you're
Right,
looking at?
Carla Barkwell.
Yeah. So she hasn't done her part to deed it over to the town, or you don't know that?
I'm not sure, I'm waiting for Sack and Break to find out if she has deeded that over or not.
Okay.
All right, so we're looking for a motion for 181,725 for road surface projects.
I'll make a motion for $181,725 for road projects.
Second, we have motion and a second for road surface projects 6002 for 181,725. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Al. The select board has voted to recommend 181,725 under the road surface projects. Chair awaits a motion.
So move.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. V.
Thank you. Sidewalk project 6007. Mike, you want to enlighten us?
There's a lot of sidewalks in town that are getting really beat up over the years. Maple Street is one of them, where they pull all the poles out of the sidewalk and set them back. We got a bunch of holes going all the way down. On Weston Ave, parts of that sidewalk are getting real bad. And some curbing around town, literally big sections missing and gone. And we need to keep that curb in there to keep your drainage system going to your basins. So that's basically what that all is all the sidewalks and the curbing.
All right, so we're looking for a motion for 68,275 for sidewalk projects under 6007.
I'll make a motion for $68,275 for sidewalk projects.
We have a motion and a second to take the town meeting $68,275. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. All right, we'll turn to the fire department.
We don't get a shot at this one now?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now that really hurts. That really.
Hit the gavel too hard, Mr. Wood, sorry.
Okay, you've heard the select board's recommendation, $68,275. The chair awaits a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed, motion carries. Now you can do it, Al.
Thank you. All right, now let's turn to the fire department building, 600920 for $75,000. Mr. Fire Chief?
That is for Company 2, needs a new roof on their station, entrance doors,
And by company 2, you mean East Madison?
East Madison,
Okay, for those of you who
and also extension off the garage to store the side-by-side in. That's not gonna be much of an extension, that'll be $4,000 or $5,000 project, but the roof's gonna be the big thing.
So looking for a motion for $75,000.
I'll make a motion that we do 75,000 for the fire department building.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to take the town meeting for the fire department building of $75,000 under 600920. Any other questions?
Do we get bids on those, on that prices, or is it?
Not yet?
We will.
It will go up to
We'll go to bid, yes. So it could come
That's just
in,
a,
we could come in at less than that.
okay.
Yeah, they just can't go over that. All right, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carried. Mr. Lloyd?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, you've heard the action that the select board has taken, $75,000 on the fire department building. Chair awaits a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there additional discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? It's a vote. Mr. B.
Thank you. All right, fire department equipment. Fire chief?
We'd like to put $50,000 away every year for the purchase of new fire trucks. Last year, 2 years ago, we got the new tanker in town. The tanker in Company 2 station in East Madison is 28 or 9 years old. That's gonna need to be replaced in the next couple of years. After 30 years, we replace the equipment, don't keep it up longer than that, so. Put money aside for it, so when it comes ready, we'll have the money there.
And if you notice, down on Article 22, we've already got 50,000
From last year.
put away from last year, so. All right, looking for a motion for the fire department for 600930, $50,000 for equipment.
I make a motion for the $50,000 for fire equipment.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve $50,000 for fire equipment. Take the town meeting. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. You've seen the select board's action of $50,000 under fire department equipment. What's your pleasure?
So
Move seconded.
Second.
Additional questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed, it's a vote. Mr. Chairman.
There's one more under capital, $8,000 for culverts. That's included in the 633.
All right, so we have one more in the culverts for $8,000, and Mike, this is just simply replacement,
Replacement,
not adding new?
new stuff like that, but mostly replacement.
Okay.
The old metal culverts, they've just been around for so long, they've rusted out.
Mr. Lloyd?
You replace them with plastic?
Yes.
Good man. Something just dawned on me too. If, I don't know how to do this, Al, I'm sorry to keep doing this to you, but if we decide to rent a track excavator, it's gonna require putting money for a tag-along trailer in the capital budget.
I think, yeah, we can get that next time.
When we do, okay.
When we do the police, do
Thank
the we bring that back.
Yep.
I think we can do that. All right, so we have a motion and a second for culverts.
I'll make a motion that we expend $8,000 for culverts.
All right, we have a motion and a second for $8,000 for culverts under capital expenditures. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Okay, the select board has voted to recommend $8,000 for culverts under capital expenditures. What's your wishes?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Additional questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? It's a vote.
All right, okay, so we're gonna move on to the other articles. We're asking to take them to town meeting. If you look at Article 20, 21, 22, and 23, those are all things that have been approved in past town meetings. And I don't know, this does not need a advisory board approval, I believe. I think it's just the select board on articles. Okay, so select board, we're looking at Article 20, 21, 22, and 23 to start with, and we'll talk about 24 on the back.
The advisory board does
Need to do that?
on the carry forwards, yes.
Okay, carry forwards, okay. So, can we do all four of them together?
I'm sorry.
20 at the end of the,
Okay. All right, oh, okay.
can we do all four of them together?
Did we skip that?
What's up? No, 20, 21, 22, and 23.
We did skip up.
Okay, I was gonna say we skipped off.
No.
There's no dollar amount there. But we need to carry forward the ARPA that has already been pre-committed, so.
Okay, you wanna do that one first?
Yep.
Okay, so let's do the Article 20, to see if the town will authorize the select board to carry forward $208,320 in unspent opera funds previously designated as follows. Matching grants, $4,720, building improvements, $53,600, and Bean Street Road construction, $150,000, for a total of $208,320. And we talked about Bean Street. We've tried to do it a number of times, but we just have not been able to get both sewer and water on board. So I think it's a future thing, so I think we want to keep the money there. And then building improvements, we got some issues at the town office we got to address, and we will look at those. And then matching grants, which we've done in the past. Yes.
What was the ARPA funds number? We don't have
Article
that
20, number 11, that's number 11.
Yes.
We have no number on that.
Sorry. 208,000.
8,320.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, guys.
I'll make the motion to approve the ARPA funds for $208,320.
Carry forward.
Carry.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to carry forward $208,320 of opera funds. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
Okay, you've heard the select board's action on, under ARPA funds of 208,320. Chair waits a motion. Second. Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Chairman.
All right, so question, Article 21, 22, and 23. Can we carry those forward? Can we put those together and take them forward with a yes? Okay, so we have a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we carry forward, capital articles 21, 22, and 23. Right, me to say the right amount.
Nope, that's fine.
That's okay.
It's inside it, doesn't.
Okay.
Any we have a second? Okay, we have a second. We have a second to take to town meeting Article 21 as written, Article 22 as written, and Article 23 as written. These are all things that have been approved before. So these were all approved before, they just have not been spent yet, but they will be. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. I do not believe,
I don't think so.
I don't believe you guys need to do that, so I think we're good with that. I'm wrong. They do?
Yeah, we do.
All the articles?
Not all the articles, just the carry forward.
Carry forward, Mr. Chair.
I see a pattern developing here, Mr. Chairman.
I know. It's getting late, I'm usually in bed by now.
I'm feeling a little hurt over here. You've seen the action that the select board has taken for carry forward capital articles number 21, 22, and 23, the total amount of $182,250. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Additional questions or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
All right, thank you very much. Okay, if you turn to the back side of this, the fund balance, number 13, Article 24. And it says traditionally the town manager puts forward an article to use money from undesignated funds. Fund balance as of June 30, 2023 was $1,556,608. Average monthly warrants are about $720,000. We hold 2 months, that would be about $1,440,000, leaving $116,608
Fund balance.
fund balance to offset taxes. Alright, so last year, I believe we brought forward 700,000. Alright, what are our thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, what was the undesignated balance on June 30th, 2022?
I don't have that in front of
Do
me.
you have that, Denise?
Yep, but you just give me a minute to find it. I think it was like 2,500,000. I don't know that I'll be able to find the exact amount, but it was in the 2,500,000 range.
While we're waiting, this is new, could you just explain 30 seconds what we're talking about?
Well, we're talking about what we have on the books
Yeah.
for money, basically, and what we have that's not been approved by these articles. So that's, they call it undesignated fund balance.
Okay.
It isn't designated for anything, it's just kind of sitting
I only
there.
have 20.
And what we've done in the past is we've taken some of that offset taxes. Last year we took $700,000 to offset taxes.
Is that what we're guessing?
Kind of.
You think it was?
You kind of, yeah.
25.
Yeah, you're basing it upon your audits that we have. Mr. Ford, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have two. First one would be, what is the monthly school payment amount that we have to pay to 59?
400s, right?
It is.
In the 400,000 range?
And what is the school carrying for surplus?
I do not know.
We have somebody here that should know.
Around 2 million. You have to take the 750,000 that we carried over for this year's budget out of there. We are bringing forward 900,000 this year. And you have to figure in your summer payroll, which is around 800,000. So, yeah, it looks like 2 million net, but you've got to take all those figures out, and once you do that, then you don't end up with very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Ford.
Mr. Chairman, the town manager has indicated she didn't have the exact figure, doesn't have a figure. She thought it was 2.5 million. We're down to 1.5 million now. Looks like we down quite a bit. And last year you took 700 and some thousand out, which really puts pretty close to what we have here. I guess I'd be a little reluctant, especially if you only got 2 months of undesignated surplus in there. If you had, if for some reason or other, everything hits the fan, you're kind of lost.
It's a recommendation for 2 months.
Right.
And if we don't feel comfortable doing this now, we're also coming back. And we're coming back in another week here, so we can come back and talk
Have the
about this
figure,
again.
yeah.
Real numbers.
Yeah, once we get the,
We're coming back in a week, I thought we were coming back tomorrow.
well, we can't come back tomorrow with the police.
Okay.
We're not gonna be able to do that tomorrow. You guys are miracle workers, you're not quite that.
She was working all night.
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have to come back again, so we can talk about that again. All right, so we wanna move on to these other articles?
Motion.
No motion on that yet, so we got Article 24, we gotta go back to.
Okay, April. All right.
All right, so if we look at this sheet here, we have a bunch of other articles in there. They basically go along with the select board. So we're looking at Article 25. I'd like to take Article 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. All together.
Take 31 out.
31 out?
31 is using a new law, so I think we need to discuss that.
Okay, so let's go 25 to 30 to start with. Looking for a motion from the select board. These are all exactly as they were last year. Nothing different.
I'll make a motion to, Articles 25 through Article 32, put on the warrant as.
Okay? All right, we have a motion and a second to put Articles 25 to 30 on the warrant as read. As written, I should say. And the selectmen approve. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Okay, so let's talk about Article 31.
Article 31, there's been a Supreme Court case that has caused some changes to tax-acquired property, and excess proceeds now have to be turned over to the previous owner, and if the owner is not found, then it goes to the state treasurer's office on property fund. There's also some new rules that have come out of Augusta about this, sadly, that require a town to use a broker for selling tax-acquired property, and changes the rules. So this is a little bit different than the normal get rid of the tax-acquired property any way you see fit.
So this has been updated then.
This has been
Okay,
updated.
so let me read it. Article 31 says to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to dispose of tax-acquired property as they deem in the best interest of the town, except that they shall first use the sale process of in 36 MRSA 943C if they choose to sell the property to anyone other than the former owner. For sales to someone other than the former owner, the excess sales proceeds as defined in 36 MRSA 943-C shall be returned to the former owner. And I guess I would say that 36 MRSA 943C outlines everything,
It does.
how we handle it.
Yes.
So in the past, what has happened is if we have sold property, the proceeds have gone to the town. So this is a change of that format. Mr. Duchamp.
The legislature passed a law to put in the guardrails or whatever by which you have to do this now in terms of they're being prescriptive as to how you're going to sell that property. It used to be, now the Supreme Court made the decision that you have to give the prior owner any excess proceeds. That never was the law until the Supreme Court made that a law. That came, legislating out of the court. Historically, what we have done is we've disposed of excess properties, and any excess monies that we got, we just put in a fund to take care of the next one that came along that we had to invest $10,000 or $15,000 to get it to the point where we could move it or if it was a place that just needed to be torn down, well, it costs the taxpayer money to do that, and so we use those funds. We won't be able to do that anymore. In addition to that, the legislature passed a law that says, when you get these properties, that you take them as town-owned property, there's a certain procedure that you have to follow to get rid of them. We used to pick up the phone and call Adrian Harris and say, we're gonna have a public auction at the fire station, and everybody came in, we publicized it and did a public auction. You can't do that anymore. You have to, it has to be listed with a realtor. I think it has to be listed with a realtor for, I think, up to 6 months, I think. And then it has to go through that process. So if you go through a realtor, not only is the town gonna pay a realtor commission, any money that comes out of that is gonna go back to the taxpayer, to the original person that owned the property. And sometimes you don't even know who that is. So this law is a real problem.
Yeah, it's got problems, yeah.
Okay, so, question I have, Jack, is that, can you, if there's cleanup, the town has to do cleanup of the property, can you take that out of the sale?
I believe you can, but I think that there's some guidelines that you'll have to follow as to what you can do. And I'm sure the town manager has those guidelines.
Just about every piece of property that we have gone to tax acquired property
It's been nasty.
has been very rough.
Yeah.
You know, tires and just stuff inside, and taking out 5 or 6 truckloads of stuff out of the house. So, I mean, as long as we follow that, I think we'll be fine.
So it does have that on the back of this page.
All right.
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, property that we already have foreclosed on and take ownership of, can we sell that as we could before, or do we have to follow the new guidelines now?
It's our property.
It's already our
It's
property.
already our property.
We foreclosed on it a while ago.
Park Street property.
So we've already taken ownership of it.
We've already taken, we ripped down the house.
I would have your town attorney check the dates of when this law came into effect and when you took possession. Because I think,
We took possession a while ago.
but I think that when the Supreme Court made the decision, it was effective immediately, that everybody had to, as far as the excess proceeds going to somebody, as far as the process, I don't know how that interplays with properties that you already own when this law was passed. So, can't tell you that.
It'd be probably only the one on Park Street, correct?
That would only be the one in question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't take ownership,
Yeah.
but that's when we're still hanging on.
That was Park Street.
No,
Not that
I don't
long.
think it's that long ago.
Time
I know.
Time goes by quickly.
But
Okay.
I think we took ownership of it.
All right, so if we could get a motion on Article 31 of the select board.
I'll make a motion to put Article 31 on the warrant as read.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to take Article 31 as written to the town meeting. Any questions, any other questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. All right, so if we move on to the back side of this, do you see any problem with taking 32, 33, 34, 35 together? All right, get a motion then.
I'll make a motion that we take Article 32, 33, 34, and 35 as written to
All right, we have a motion and a second to take Article 32, 33, 34, and 35 as written to town meeting. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Okay, Article 36. All right, we have some discussion on 36, 37, and 38. 36 says to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to swap a portion of a parcel of land on South Maple Street behind Rennie's Department Store, currently being utilized as a municipal parking lot, with the parcel upon which the American Legion Post 39 building currently exists. Matt? map 19, lot 82. The intent of the American Legion is to build a new facility, tear down the existing structure, remove the debris, and pave the area for replacement municipal parking lot. So basically what we're talking about is where the Legion is right now, them tearing it down, repaving it, and us giving them a piece in the back of the parking lot to build a new building. We've talked about it, the select board agreed with it. We've agreed with that. They've come and give us some, I don't know, they've come and give us some information. We've talked about it with the American Legion. I don't know exactly where it is, where it stands on their plate at this time. I don't know if town manager knows.
They're still trying to raise money but they want to proceed, they want to go forward with it. They're waiting to hear to see that it's going to be on the town warrant and whether or not the town wishes to proceed with it.
Would the property that the town would be deeding to the American Legion, would that be abutting the land on Bob Bogopian's property, or would it be?
I believe it is to the right of that.
So we can pass this around if you want. This is where they are now.
Right.
This is where they want to go.
Oh, so they'd be back of the telephone building, yeah.
Right.
I do believe it, but Bob Gilpin's property.
All right, so we're looking for a motion for the board to take Article 36 to town meeting. All right, we have a motion and a second to take the Article 36 to town meeting. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. All right, so we have batted Article 37 around a lot, and we would like to take it to town meeting to see if the town will vote to allow ATV access on the streets of the town of Madison Village area for residents to gain access to the Kennebec Valley Trail bed and propose MDOT access routes. Okay, so basically what we're talking about is getting down Main Street to the trail bed, from the trail bed to, I believe it's all the way out to Bob's Cash Fuel, correct? All the way out to Bob's Cash Fuel to get fuel, or Irving, or any place like that. It is not designed to drive your ATV around town. So if I live on Vaughn Street and I want to go to Rowell Street, I can't do it. All right, if it is a nuisance, then people need to call the police on that. But it's basically to get to the trail bed. And we've batted this thing around many times, and we've had many talks with the ATV club, and I think we're probably ready to go to town meeting with it for a yes or a no. Any comments at all, anything, anybody? Yes, Randy?
There's supposed to be like a public hearing or anything like that on it?
We have had many of them.
Okay, let's say there's an official public hearing.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it possible to, the streets that you're some way designate so people will know if they have an ATV, you just don't zigzag down the street like some people like to do?
Yep.
And perhaps say, all right, if you're driving an ATV, you follow maybe along where a bicycle would fall along the side of the road, and develop a little bit of ordinance or directions there.
Right, see, basically, the state controls Main Street, so the state gives them access to go up Main Street anyways, because they give them access to go on State Road. So they can go from the trail bed out onto Main Street. What we're talking about is going from like Madison Avenue to the trail bed. Weston Avenue to the trail bed. And basically to get there so you can go up. Basically on Main Street, I mean, we're gonna pass this saying we're giving permission, but the state, I think, already gives them permission. And this trail bed stuff is now big, this trail bed is now a big deal.
Yeah. But you're going right up Main Street, you don't go up the side of the road.
Right.
Because it's 25 miles an hour.
Right.
So you want to go with traffic so that
Okay.
less accidents that way if you're going with traffic,
Right.
instead of people going around you.
Yeah.
Can I read what I've got from the ATV Club? Madison Anson ATV Club is seeking permission to gain access on streets in the town of Madison Village area for the purpose of allowing residents to get access to the Kennebec Valley Trail rail bed and to the proposed MDOT access route. All public streets and avenues in the village area and those that are outside the village area but connected directly to the immediate village area with a posted speed limit of 40 miles an hour or less, excepting Lerner's Lane and state roads and state aid roads. Hours of use would be 7 a.m. until dusk, seasonally open when the state-owned Kennebec Valley Trail opens, typically mid to late May until November 30th, unless there is a groomable amount of snow on the Kennebec Valley Trail. If KVT is open to ATV traffic, then the access route is open. They would follow all state laws regarding access routes, including operators must be over the age of 16, ATVs must have valid registration as an ATV. And they would take care of all the signage, whatever that would be, between the ATV club and the state. And the Board of Selectmen reserve the right to evaluate the continued use of the access route on an annual basis.
All right, so we're looking for a motion from the select board to send Article 37 to town meeting, and again, it's up to the voters. I mean, we're basically sending it to town meeting and saying, you decide. I mean, we've had many meetings here with listening to both sides. I mean, there are some people who are adamantly against this. So, I mean, there are some that are for it, a lot of them are for it, but it's still, the people need to have the say. Yes?
So this will go to on the warrant without a recommendation from the selectmen? Select
No,
board, excuse me.
we'll go with a recommendation of yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
We'll assuming.
we'll see. All right?
We haven't decided that yet, right? We just
To be
decided-
determined.
Because if it's no, then it's not gonna go to town meeting,
Understood.
right? So if it's not, if it comes out to a no vote here, it won't go to town meeting.
But we have to.
It's moving.
This is something that the town should tell us what they want.
Right, so a yes vote is appropriate, yeah.
It's not our decision.
I agree.
It's the people's decision.
I agree, Ron.
But we gotta get it started to get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a couple of years since we've been talking about this. I mean, it's time to move it.
Yep.
Looking for a motion to a yes. Selectmen recommend yes.
I'll make the motion to put Article 37 on the warrant as presented.
Second.
Second? All right, we have a motion and a second to take Article 37 to town meeting. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. All right, so moving on to Article 38, which is basically us too. I'll read it and then we can, town manager can talk about it a little bit. Article 38, to see if the town, in accordance with 22 MRSA 2423A, will vote to amend the town ordinance chapter 180 drugs and drug paraphernalia by expressly allowing the retail sales of medical marijuana cannabis products. Okay? So, my understanding is that since we put our ordinance in, the state law has changed. And so we had voted earlier that we have no retail sales of marijuana in Madison. We had medical marijuana. But within the rules being changed, we now have 4 of our businesses that are not in compliance with the rules because of the law being changed. So a yes vote will allow the existing medical cannabis retail stores to continue to operate and allow the planning board to review the existing ordinance language and bring the amended ordinance back for the next town meeting. A no vote will cause the Office of Cannabis Policy to shut down the existing medical cannabis retail stores authorized after 12/13/2018 and prohibit the authorization of any new medical cannabis retail stores in Madison. Alright, so, basically, we have to get something on the books if we're gonna keep these places open. The only one it would not affect is Wicked Lettuce on the corner of Main Street and Maple
South
Street,
Maple, yeah.
South Maple Street. They have come in before this happened.
Grandfather.
They're basically grandfathered in. Alright, and I say state law, but they made a change,
It was a rule change.
a rule change. I don't mean to blame everything on state law, Jack, so.
Your fault.
I don't mean to.
No, it's the Office of Cannabis Policy, they tell
Right.
us what they're gonna do, not.
Yeah, so
We
they
don't
made
tell
a change in their rules and we have to make a change in ours. Or not.
Have all the other stores that were not covered under the grandfather, has there been a problem with any of them or with them, traffic-wise or anything else?
Not to my knowledge.
So other than having an opinion as to whether we should be having marijuana or not, they don't create an issue for us, for the town.
I've not seen it. Alright,
I think that what it's gonna turn to is, how many of those establishments do you want within your town?
1 or 5 or 6.
Well, you got 5 already.
well, that's all you can have according to our ordinance, I believe, is it?
There's no number, there's
There is
no
no
number.
number.
Oh, geez.
No, so
That's-
you could have a dozen.
So it's gonna be supply and demand then.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons it would go to the planning board and then for a recommendation on the rewording of the ordinance, because then they could include language that would limit the number of stores as well as the distance to safe places like schools and libraries and playgrounds and things like that.
Yeah, I understand, and we're getting caught up in the middle of this because we do not have any ordinances, so to speak. Just like we're caught up now on the corner.
We do have an ordinance.
We already have an ordinance, we do have an ordinance,
Yeah,
it's
but
just
not
not,
on
it's
many.
not,
How much will they see us?
not on how many.
You could have one in every other village,
Right, no, we
because
don't.
the town want that.
Well, right, so that's why this is worded so that it goes, if it passes, it goes back to the planning board to come up with that language to limit what there might be and where.
Alright, so we need a motion from the select board for Article 38.
Can I put the planning board now?
I'll make a motion to put Article 38 on the warrant as written, and we don't have to say yes or
You make a recommendation, recommend, either yes or no.
If you put it on,
Second.
I recommend it.
no. Well, I want it on the warrant so that people can vote for it.
We have to make a recommendation.
Well, what's the board want to do for that?
I would say yes. And get it to the planning board, get it to the planning board.
Okay,
Let them decide.
okay.
They're in violation, and they would be closed down.
Recommend yes? Second? Okay, we have a motion and a second on Article 38 to recommend yes, a yes vote on Article 38. Any questions? Any other questions?
Just
Yes, sir.
procedural wise, why do you have to recommend a yes or a no to move it forward?
I don't know. I think the select board's giving their opinion.
Which I understand, that's great if you want to, but if you don't want to,
Yeah.
because one of the other ones, you said like if you vote no on it, then it doesn't move forward, and that doesn't make sense if you wanna give the.
Well, this is a yes and no.
No, I understand this
If
one.
we don't, if we, like, say Article 34, if we didn't vote yes on that, it wouldn't go to the, a money article would not go to the advisory board if we voted no.
Yeah, I don't even mean to the advisory board, I mean to the
Town
town meeting, right? I don't like I said, just procedure, like a question, like why do you have to give?
I think you're giving your opinion as a board.
Right, I get it.
We have to vote on it, we could.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you say no, it doesn't go forward to the town.
Well, it
depends
if
it's a majority or not.
Right.
But if it goes to the town as a vote, because you say, yes, we'll let the townspeople vote on it,
Yep.
then you get your individual vote when it comes time to vote on it.
Right.
All right, so we're looking to send this to town meeting.
You have a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. All right, so let's review. We have Article 7, which we need to come back to. The town manager is going to see if she can update some numbers for an SRO. And Mr. DeBerge is going to go to the school board and the superintendent and tell her that this is coming. And so, we are also, our next one is on Capital Highway Department 6001. We need to review that, whether we purchase or we don't. If that happens, then we need to go back to Article 9 and review that and fix that for later. And we also have Article 24. Does that make sense? That should get us everything we need to go to town meeting.
What was it, if we, Article 15 on the highway equipment, you said if we don't vote for that, we have to go back to something else?
We have to go back to number Article 9, because we have to change that. If we're gonna rent equipment, it's gotta come out of the general budget.
Gotcha.
But you have to go back to the capital budget for a trip.
Right, for the trailer. Okay, so we're gonna come up with a price for the trailer,
If not, okay,
and then, come up with a price to rent that.
okay, Article 9 for rent.
Do you have something to do with public safety as well?
Right, yeah, we gotta go back to that, to the police, for the SRO. Okay, so, that being said, can I do that tomorrow night? Yes, Donnie?
I wasn't here for Article 7 under public safety.
Yep.
You did not go over that.
Yeah, we are going to go back over that. We didn't approve it because we want to talk about an SRO and exactly how much that is gonna cost.
I've got another question on this.
Yep.
We get some.
Okay, we need to, listen up here, guys. Gotta get Jeff and the gavel again.
I got a question on the police department.
Yep.
The town of Anson, the town of Emden, Norwich, blah, 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 pays X amount of dollars for police coverage. $200,000 a year, somewhere in that ballpark?
I don't have any idea.
Well, somewhere in that ballpark,
Because
right?
that's what we pay too.
Where is it in here that we pay the extra 200,000? We pay 500, it says 576,000. Is that just for the police, the full-time department?
That's the police department, the way they present it
Where's
with,
the 200 some thousand for the?
that comes, that's a bill that's sent to us by
The county.
the county.
That don't go in the warrant?
That doesn't go in the warrant, no. The county sends us a bill similar to what the school
So the public doesn't know
does.
what we actually pay for the police department?
What's that?
Yes.
Does the public actually know what we pay for the police department?
I hope they would,
Way this reads, we're paying 576,000 for
but
police.
we're also paying our county
Well,
assessment, same as the
We're
school.
actually paying $900,000 police coverage.
Yep.
Well, it's not just police coverage, Donnie. The
Right,
police
what's-
coverage is 576,000. The county assessment is for other things as well, on top of that.
It's not police coverage?
No, the police coverage is 576,000.
That's not.
Okay, well, let's move on.
Why are we moving on now? Why don't we discuss it?
We've discussed this over and over again, so we pay a county assessment to the Somerset County. That doesn't, they don't break it down to, this is for police coverage, this is for, anything else, this is for the administrative end of that. They send us a bill. We choose as a town to raise money to have a deputy assigned to us for every shift. that's
We pay the
what we
same thing as
choose.
Anson does, plus we pay $600,000
Yep,
for so-called.
I don't know what Anson pays, but we pay our assessment to them.
It's about $200,000.
So if the people don't want to have that coverage in Madison, they don't need to vote for this $576,000. I mean, that, people have chose to do that, and it's the way it is. All right, anything else on that? Okay, so what do we got for next? Should we go to the 13th and do this finish this up on the 13th, our regular meeting?
We've gotta go to print before that. We're supposed to go to print we're supposed to give it to the printer on Monday. I can put it off till Tuesday if you wanna meet Monday.
Monday the 6th?
Yep.
Can everybody's schedule for Monday the 6th?
Not good, but.
How many do we have that can make it?
I can fill it up.
Monday the 6th?
Show of hands.
Show of hands, Jeff, you can be here. We got
We
8?
need at least 8.
Yep. All right,
5:30?
5:30?
Bring your own supper.
Oh, sure.
I'll see how it is now.
Bring it.
What time?
Hey, those are people.
5:30? All right, so we're looking for a motion to adjourn. All right, a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Monday the 6th.
Time is that, 8:20?
Yep.
Denise, you're gonna email notices?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.